Coming up tonight on VCU InSight.
A rundown area of town gets a much-needed facelift in hopes it becomes Richmond's new hotspot.
A NASA operative returns to her high school to inspire 2016 grads.
And a retired police officer's mission to find a new home for a neglected police memorial.
All this and more.
VCU InSight starts right now.
From the Richard T. Robertson School of Media and Culture at Virginia Commonwealth University, named Best Student Newscast in the Mid-Atlantic, this is VCU InSight.
Good evening and welcome to VCU InSight. I'm Kristen Dennis.
And I'm Matthew Foltz. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, the Richmond area is constantly changing, and now developers have their sights on the Manchester area. Could the next Carytown be just over the 14th Street Bridge? InSight's Nichelle Pearson is in the studio with more on the story. Good evening, Nichelle.
Good evening, Matthew. The Manchester community is expecting major renovations. Developers R.J. Smith Companies has plans on how to bring back a thriving community. Abandoned buildings, vacant storefronts, structures in need of repair. This is what it looks like around the Manchester area. R.J. Smith Companies wants to add modern touches to the historic area. The project is called Urban Charm. Vice President Janet King says she'll like to see something similar to Carytown with shops and restaurants.
The combination of business and retail and everyone living in a community like they did 50 years ago. That's really what we're looking for.
The $9 million renovations have already begun on the 13 to 1500 block of Hall Street. It also includes replacing the nearby Bainbridge Art Center with a $9,000 square foot structure housing 14 apartments. The banner states exactly what Project Urban Charm is meant to do: bring vitality back into the community. And many community members have their own ideas of how to do exactly just that. Nadiria Brown works at the Hall Street Library. She is new to the area but already has some suggestions.
I think having more options for like low-income families and the homeless and stuff like that, and having things geared towards them instead of anything fancy, boutiques and stuff like that. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Demolition of the Bainbridge Art Center will begin next month. The overall project is scheduled to be completed in 2017. Back to you, Matthew.
Thank you, Nichelle. Construction on the traffic circle at Monument and Allen has begun. The plan is to turn that circle into a modern roundabout by mid-January. InSight's Janice Milan has more on the story.
Every Richmonder has probably driven by the Robert E. Lee traffic circle and knows how difficult it can be to navigate. Sharon North is the Public Information Manager for Richmond Public Works. She says one reason behind the construction is to reduce the amount of accidents.
A roundabout is a low-speed affair, so we don't want people being able to go more than 15, 20 miles per hour.
According to Richmond Public Works, there were more than 100 accidents at this roundabout in a 9-year period. Developers are hoping to make the traffic circle more like this modern roundabout on 9 Mile and 25th Street. Here, the speed is slower and the pedestrian crosswalks are marked. North says that those features are what make the roundabout safer. Back on Monument Avenue, Bobby Holm Lippert is a pastor at Grace Covenant Presbyterian Church. He says a good portion of his congregation lives in the fan and walks to church.
You sort of have to be able to run at times to be sure you're going to get across to the median, then to the other side. And we do have people that live just across the way. So that can be tricky. Developers say the installation of pavement markings and pedestrian crosswalks will make it easier to cross the roundabout. But with construction in progress until next year, locals will have to play it safe for now. For VCU InSight, I'm Janice Milan.
The total project cost is estimated at $500,000, half being paid through VDOT and the other half through the city.
A new program at the Richmond City Jail is helping inmates gain business skills, so when they are released, they can find gainful employment. InSight's Denasia Pascal is in the studio with the founder of the program.
I'm here today with Micah Bam Bam White, a comedian who's helping Richmond inmates get business experience. Good evening, Micah.
Hey, how you doing, Denasia?
I'm doing well. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So tell me a little bit about the program that started RCJC Has Talent and kind of why you started it.
RCJC Has Talent is a program that helps inmates learn how to write business plans, learn how to write elevator speeches, learn how to write resumes and things of that nature to give them a business experience. But the reality of why I started was kind of to give inmates a different mindset about themselves so that they can be a little bit more empowered with who they are. And that way, when they get back into the community, they're more about what they want to do positively versus the contrary.
Okay. And tell me why a program like this is important to Richmond as a community.
Because a community, I did a TED Talk, and the TED Talk was titled, "A Community is Only as Strong as Its Weakest Links." And I think a lot of times the middle class and the upper class seems to be in their own world, and we forget about what can be considered the weakest links. If the bottom is strong, the top is stronger. So it's kind of to get the attention to the bottom to help a lot of those people to end recidivism, because I would rather spend my tax dollars helping an inmate get a business versus having them be locked up in jail. So it's kind of to change their mentality so we can feed the top by strengthening the bottom.
Okay. And also, we have some video with us about one of the past years that you had RCJC Has Talent at the Richmond Correctional Center. So tell me a little about what impact did you see the inmates had after the fact?
Oh, after the fact has been incredible. Since I've been out of the jail, I'll see inmates in the streets, or they're not inmates anymore, but they'll come up to me and tell me the difference that I made in not so much the entire program, but sometimes it's one thing that I can say. And that one thing that I can say sticks with them, and that one thing feeds a lot of different things after that. I've had inmates or past inmates come to me and tell me they never thought their life was worth anything until I helped them fulfill a thought that they had on the inside of their heart, in their hearts. So now they're living with purpose within themselves, which I think is a divine purpose. So if you help them get to that, that's what I see the difference is, helping them get to that divine purpose that's inside of them.
Do you have any stories of anyone who's specifically gone and succeeded their business plan or went somewhere after the fact?
Absolutely. There's a young man by the name of Julius. I use him for example. It's funny because in the program, we also teach the inmates that have talents. I'm a comedian, so I teach them how to sing, how to rap, how to tell jokes, or even if I don't teach them, I bring other entertainers in to help them hone their skills. So I go to an open mic one night, and I'm kind of just hanging out in the back, and this guy stands up. I didn't even see him. He goes, hey, I was locked up in the Richmond City Jail. I was in this program. This program helped me find the talent that I have, and today is my first time on stage doing this talent. And I looked up, and it was Julius, the guy that was in my program. Right. Well, fast forward about a year later, he had to go into a drug home once he got out, which was part of his release to get off what you would call papers. And I was invited to his graduation. And at the end of the graduation, he had bracelets for sale. So I bought two of the bracelets, one for me and one for my little daughter. And when I bought the two bracelets, he reminded me that that was the business plan that he wrote in my program. So he got $30 out of me for something I taught him. So I thought that was pretty good.
Right. And also, as far as you being a comedian, how has that lend itself into you creating this program? And does that kind of lend itself to being a more, get inmates to laugh and be happy? I
think as a comic, comics we are the most intelligent people when it comes to reading individuals and knowing how to get through to you. Because 90% of the time we're on stage with people we've never seen in our lives. So we have to have this gift, this knack to be able to touch someone that we have never seen ever in our life. So by having that knack, going into the jail, it isn't an intimidating situation. This is a situation where, hey, I know y'all know me, that's the way I get that feeling out there, and that way I can say whatever and they can trust what I have to say.
Right. I've been speaking with Micah Bam Bam White. Micah, thanks for being here, and best luck with this year's RCJC Has Talent.
Thank you, Denasia. God bless you for putting this on.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
A new monument honoring Maggie L. Walker will go up in the city's Arts District. The statue will be at North Adams and Broad Street. Walker was the first African-American woman to found a bank in the U.S. She lived and worked in historic Jackson Ward. The new monument will serve as a gateway to the Jackson Ward community and the new home of the Black History Museum and Cultural Center of Virginia. The city awarded a $300,000 commission for the project. Site work on the plaza begins this fall.
Meantime, another Richmond statue has fallen into disrepair, and a retired police officer has made it his mission to change that. The statue honors police officers killed in the line of duty, and officers want it moved so it never gets forgotten again. The statue honoring police officers on duty has fallen beyond disrepair. The statue is located in Festival Park. The former location of Friday Cheers is now a home for the homeless. As a retired patrolman, Glenwood Burley took action after seeing the state the statue was in.
My heartbreak was coming in the morning and smelling a urine, and the impact of the smell and the cans, Coke cans, etc., alcoholic cans, and just a total disarray of being unkept.
Burley and his committee have proposed a new location right here in front of the Carolyn in Bird Park. They think it will be a more prominent area with more traffic and better maintenance. Burley won't be satisfied until the statue is in a new location, and he is not alone. Kelly Wentz, president and co-founder for United for Blue, an organization that supports officers by uniting them with the community. Wentz has a special tie to the statue and wants to see the statue get the recognition she thinks it deserves.
No officer should ever be forgotten for giving his life. Those officers gave their lives protecting us, and it was forgotten about.
The statue was donated to the city in 1987 by a private foundation.
It's not my statue. If you'll read this, it has a very clear meaning that this statue, the people of Richmond dedicated this statue. So this statue is ours as a community.
The Carillon is not a done deal. They're still waiting for approval from the city's Urban Design Committee and the Richmond Planning Commission before they are able to break ground on the new location.
VCU police are officially moving their new police headquarters to the old United Way building. This move has been a long time coming, with discussions going back to 2013. Entering the current VCU police building is difficult due to construction on Gray Street, but on the corner of East and Broad, the new headquarters tells a different story. In addition, the building will have an indoor firing range for officer training. The total cost of the project is over $5 million, with more than half being paid from university funding. The facility is set to open in the next few weeks. And VCU police are setting their sights high, or at least eye level, thanks to new technology. Police officers are now seeing campus and their jobs from a whole new perspective. InSight's Teresa Galasso has more on the story.
Police departments everywhere are catching heat about whether they use too much force, and VCU PD is doing something about it. Body cameras are the newest addition to every VCU police officer's uniform. VCU Police Chief John Venuti says the department has looked into the cameras for the past 2 years, and they couldn't have come at a better time.
The advantage of the body-worn video camera is it really gives us an unbiased, first-hand account of everything that actually transpired, and that's really, really valuable.
The department bought 25 cameras, including charging stations and a storage system, costing roughly $100,000 over the next 5 years. The device is worn on the officer's shoulder.
This is what's captured every time an officer comes into contact with the person. The camera can record up to 10 hours of footage, and after each shift, it's uploaded into the station's database.
VCU student Alexis Cutler says these cameras could help students in a tough situation.
Right now in the news that police officers are maybe overgoing their authority, so then the students can have video proof that they are doing right.
According to VCU police, in the past 4 years, use of force incidents on campus have dropped from 58 to 7, and complaints from 69 to 19. Venuti says the cameras will cut down on paperwork, allowing the officers to focus more on the incident itself.
I think what the body camera is actually going to do is it's going to really allow the officers to do their jobs and not work.
VCU Police is the second law enforcement agency in the area to implement body cameras, and Henrico County has been using them since last year.
There is a growing concern about the health of young football players. A Chesterfield man is working to change the dynamics of how coaches monitor their players, all with the help of a mouth guard. InSight's AC Stokes has more.
One of my favorite Dana Halls, the principal of Richmond Alternative School, remembers the moment he came up with the idea. He was watching his favorite player, LeBron James, dehydrated during the 2013 NBA Finals. As soon as I saw him take the mouth guard out, I realized that this was potentially an opportunity for us to solve a problem
that affects many other athletes.
The problem is not knowing the health vitals of the athlete minute by minute. Hawes calls his solution SmartMouth. It monitors hydration, respiration, circulation, and even exertion.
So SmartMouth would replace traditional guards such as this one. One Henrico coach agrees that SmartMouth is a good idea.
Gerald Glasgow has been coaching for 12 seasons at Henrico High. He says he has heard of SmartMouth, which would retail from about $99 to $159.
I'm not sure if it's cost efficient yet for all public schools. But if it's anything to do with players' health and safety, I'm sure each school and locale will look into it very heavily.
Hall says the prices for SmartMouth are priced to compete with other activity trackers like Fitbit.
As well. Again, from the Pee-wees to the pros is what we want to market toward.
Coach Glasgow says that the device would be a useful tool for monitoring his players.
Well, knowledge is always power. So if you know that your athlete is having an issue with concussions or high impact during the game, you may be able to sub them in and out a little faster.
Hall says there's interest in his invention from high school teams as well as collegiate and semi-pro teams. For VCU InSight, I'm AC Stokes.
Hawes is pushing to have the SmartMouth available by next July.
A great opportunity for some college students is studying overseas. VCU has a campus in Qatar, and some of our students are headed there for an intensive learning experience. InSight's Janice Milan is in the studio with one of the students in the program.
I'm here with Will Gilbert, who also happens to be our student executive producer here on InSight. And you're a part of the exciting Qatar exchange program. Welcome, Will.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I know you're part of the VCU Leadership Exchange. Can you tell me how you found out about this program?
Yeah, well, so VCU has had a branch campus in Doha. I think it started in 1998. And there hasn't been a lot of, I feel like, exchange between student leaders and that sort of thing. So last year, the SGA decided that they were going to change that. So they sent a group of 7 students to Doha for the week, or for a week. And they were able to share leadership ideas and that sort of thing with student leaders over in Qatar. And so I knew a lot of people who were going on the trip, and as soon as those applications came out, I jumped on the chance to spend a week over in Doha.
And so I know there were only 10 people selected for this trip. What were some of the requirements for it?
Well, there's an application process. I think this past year there were about 200 student applicants, and 8 of us were chosen. And then we have 2 advisors going with us. And the whole process, you fill out an application. Then when you get through the first round, there's an interview process, and you're interviewed by the advisors and the students who went on previous trips, as well as just involved students on campus. And from there they sort of decide what students are lucky enough to go over there for a week.
I have some video footage of Doha itself, the city you're going to visit. Yeah. Can you tell me what you're excited about most?
Well, the architecture is absolutely beautiful. I mean, the video shows it. It's the Doha and Qatar. It's been a country that sort of has become its own within the last 100 years, and they've done all this expanding and all this building and everything to make it what it is now, and they just experiment with so many different forms of architecture and that sort of thing. So I'm really, really excited about that. I'm also really excited about the food.
I was just going to ask, yeah. So what type of food do they have?
Well, a lot of the food that they have there is halal. A lot of the meat they have is halal, and so that's just a different way of preparing meat. And honestly, a lot of times it's a little bit more natural than the meat that we have here in the United States. So I'm really excited about that. But they have these really large meals where everybody sits down and they just sort of keep feeding you. And I mean, yeah, I'll probably feel like busting after each meal, but I'll be very, very happy.
So right now, name your favorite halal dish.
Ooh, well, I mean, they do things like where they have like gyros and like kebabs and that sort of thing. Those are all really good. So.
And what are you hoping to get from this experience?
Well, I think, I've never been to the Middle East. I've been to Europe, but it's Western culture. So, I mean, yes, it's different from the United States, but in many aspects, it's still sort of similar. And so, I've never been to I've never been to the Middle East. I've never been to an Eastern country, and I'm really excited about that those cultural differences. Seeing how they live and seeing the differences in what their student body is and what our student body is and that sort of thing. So I think that's what I'm really excited about, learning and seeing, experiencing.
Awesome. I've been speaking with Will Gilbert. Thanks again for being here. Can't wait to hear about when you return from your trip.
Thank you.
It has been a mainstay in the Oregon Hill community for over 100 years, with the recent announcement of the Williamsburg Community House closing. This leaves community leaders concerned with what comes next. InSight's Denasia Pascal reports.
For the last 9 years, the Birdhouse Market has been providing fresh food options in an area filled with convenience stores. The community house offered dozens of programs, and now the market is the last one standing. Anna Edwards has managed the market since it first opened. She says many residents don't have healthy food options available in the area.
It's really difficult for people who live in this area, in particular people with children and seniors for whom transportation is a dynamic, to get fresh, healthful food.
Without programs such as this that provide mortgage, rent, childcare, and food assistance, families in this community are left with few options.
The program has helped thousands, but cutbacks have caused organizations such as United Way and other government organizations to steadily decrease funding over the years. Former executive director of the House, Sheila Givens, says there is still a need in the community.
I think at the end of this fiscal year, we probably had about 20,000 phone calls for assistance.
Givens says things have been financially tight for a while.
There were months that we didn't get a paycheck, but they were committed and devoted to the families.
The House has provided ongoing assistance for 92 years.
I just want to thank everybody who has played a role in Williamsburg Community House from day one.
The House is currently selling items and cleaning the facility until the doors officially close. For VCU InSight, I'm Denasia Pascal.
The board has not decided on the official closing date. Auf Ehrwohl means cheers in German. The 47th annual Richmond Oktoberfest was alive and merry last weekend, while the beer was ever flowing. It's considered the largest German-American Oktoberfest in the state of Virginia. Nearly 5,000 people packed the Old Dominion building in Richmond International Raceway. There were German pastries, traditional Bavarian dancers, and steins of beer. German organizations, as well as local vendors and sponsors, have organized the event since 1969. At the near end of the event, there was a beer stein holding contest, which is held every year at the festival. Dozens of men entered, but there can only be one winner, crowned with the largest beer stein.
And finally, tonight, the students of J.R. Tucker High School in Henrico got a very special guest speaker at their senior convocation. Just a hint, it's a well-known celebrity in the science world. InSight's Alyssa Sims is in the newsroom with more. Good evening, Alyssa. I imagine this was quite the homecoming.
Yes, Kristen, it really was. Over 200 students, parents, and alumni packed the gym to hear from a local woman turned NASA superstar. Recognize her on the street, but she's a star, especially since she's the first woman to hold the position of Space Missions Operations Manager at the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory. Alice Bowman frontlined the group that, combined with NASA, successfully sent codes to the New Horizons spacecraft, which took the clearest photos of Pluto this past July.
There's nothing like going to a place that you've never been to see something, and in this case, totally unexpected.
Despite all of Bowman's accomplishments, her return to her alma mater was something to remember. She graduated from J.R. Tucker in 1979, then returned right back here for her speech on the 13th.
Dr. Robert Lowry, principal of Tucker High, says her accomplishments in science and technology could further inspire the seniors.
I think that she showed a lot of them, hey, I was in the same seat you were in, and now I'm doing this.
Bowman recalls the fond memories she had at Tucker High.
Gosh, given that speech, it was somewhat emotional, and I didn't expect to feel that when I walked through those doors, and then when they sang the alma mater, and Dr. Rodriguez said to me, the words are on the back of the program, and I said, well, I know all the words.
Homecomings aren't just for the graduating class of 2016. They are also a great way for Tucker Tigers, past and present, to connect once again.
There's so much out there for you to explore and to experience, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Bowman didn't say what's next for her group, but she did say that they hope for more opportunities for exploration in the future. Back to you, Kristen and Matthew.
Thank you, Alyssa.
How cool is that? To come from Henrico County, our own county, and go make NASA a celebrity. How cool is that?
I bet she's many of their role models.
I bet. And that's it for this edition of VCU InSight.
Make sure to check us out online at insight.vcu.edu.
You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook under VCU InSight. Contact us with any stories you'd like to see on our show.
And if you missed it or you'd like to watch past shows, we're on YouTube under VCU InSight. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Kristen Dennis.
And I'm Matthew Foltz. We'll see you next time.